What's up, community? It's Rocky here. Let's have a chat. So today I want to talk about something that really pisses me off, and that is gendered language. I'm a big believer and advocate that language matters. Language can be used to achieve social change. It can be used as a form of identity. It can be used as a form of empowerment. It can be used as a form of resistance, and so on. We can all pretty much agree that there's a big weight and difference when we refer to an immigrant as an illegal immigrant versus an undocumented immigrant, right? So illegal versus undocumented. Illegal is meant to put that person down and make them feel lesser than, and undocumented is simply stating their status as an immigrant. So same way, I think it's very important for us to be very cautious and do our best to move away from the binaries when it comes to gender language and when it comes to referring to people's gender identities and just about who they are. So let's just jump right into it. So I identify as non-binary. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm going to be focusing this video specifically on how that translates into Latin-based languages. Specifically for me, it's Portuguese. I was born and raised in Brazil, so that's my mother tongue. So why should we move away from binary language and gender language? Simply put, is because non-binary people exist, agender people exist, and so on. It also benefits people who identify as either gender, because it makes them think a little bit outside of the binary and makes them understand that they shouldn't be imposing what they perceive as someone's gender expression, right? How they express themselves as to be their gender. So by forcing folks who identify, say, with pretty, and they are a cis woman, to start using language that is not either handsome or pretty, will ultimately benefit their idea of what gender is, right? So going back into the Portuguese aspect of it, it gets really complicated because every single thing in Portuguese is gendered. I'm talking about a pencil, a table, a car, and obviously people. And there's a lot of debates between linguists on how to make that more friendly to folks that are non-binary or that want to use the gender-neutral pronouns and language. One of the proposals that I've seen around for Portuguese too is to use that E ending, similar to the Spanish one. It works okay with some verbs and some nouns, but and adjectives, but it doesn't work well with everything. I think Spanish is a little bit ahead of us in that sense. They also use the X, which I really like Latinx. It's just like it became, I think it's much more powerful in Spanish than it is in Portuguese still. So just to put things a little bit in perspective, what happened to me today is someone told me I was rude, right? And they used the rude with the ending to refer to me as a masculine. So alternatives to that, since they're, maybe the E wasn't the best alternative for this, or people are just uneducated enough, they don't want to say the E because for them it sounds weird. So instead of saying I was rude, you could have said your attitude was rude. So it's gendering the attitude, because everything is gendered, like I mentioned before, but it wouldn't be gendering me. I personally feel like that would be a much better alternative until folks can figure out how to navigate gendered language and gender-neutral language in Latin-based languages and other languages. But I just don't want to throw it out there. If English is not your primary language and it's similar to Latin-based, try gendering actions or attitudes or consequences of that instead of gendering the person. Now on the flip side, I realize that that kind of distances the person a little bit. It may make some folks feel, I guess, not human enough. But I'd rather feel that distance than be misgendered. Okay, so I'm gonna try and put some links below on gender language and gender neutral language, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any other alternatives that you thought out about, especially if your language is not English. All right, talk to you folks next week.